Hello, fellow instructors. Maybe you're some of my instructors, maybe you're some of my leadership students training and learning to be an instructor. Maybe you're an instructor from a whole other organization just watching the video, and welcome if you are. I hope all of you find something useful in these videos that just kind of help you maybe either set goals for yourselves for the next coming week or so, or set goals for your staff as you're training people how to become better instructors. What I'm discussing this week is how to teach focusing their eyes. So in Ninja Fit we have the 3 rules of concentration we talk about, and a lot of it mainly is for the young kids we teach. But focus your eyes, focus your mind, focus your body are the 3 aspects of focus that we hone in on as we're teaching our lessons. And we'll have little mat chats about each, some segments of it and all that, and that's not necessarily about everything. Every way we focused and we practiced focusing during that one class, because there's just too many opportunities for them to be practicing focusing their eyes during the warm-up, focusing their mind in another way during the warm-up, and focusing their body in the warm-up. I mean, that's 3 different ways to think about focus and approach it. So right now, just for this video and just for this week, I'm going to challenge my instructors and leadership students as they're coming up to work on teaching focusing their eyes as part of the warm-up, and then learning to figure out and correlate that lesson there from what we even just worked on and learned in that warm-up into how that can help them in their outside daily lives, whether it's at work or at school or something, right? So you get them to work on focusing their eyes during the warm-up. What's their goal? The goal there should be they're focusing straight ahead. They're learning they're getting back in and reminding themselves, or maybe you're helping remind them if they're white belts and yellow belts, just brand new to your program, about what the rules are and what the expectations are. So every time they start, they come back on the floor and the beginning of the class goes and we start on the warm-up. It's our chance to kind of remind them about where they're at and what the rules are, what the expectations are. They need to be giving their best. They need to be here mentally, all right? So they need to focus when they're here. We need to get them to forget about all the other stuff outside of here, school, work, whatever happened and all that throughout the day, and we need to get them to give us their best when they're here, right? So you can remind them a couple ways, maybe at the beginning, especially if you got white belt, yellow belt students. Maybe you start off up there and you're doing the moves with them, whatever it is, jumping jacks, pushes, kicks, whatever. And then you start saying, you're going to start walking around the class. That's one thing I really enjoy doing, walking and seeing it from different angles, and then walking in between the rows, giving high fives, tweaking little things here and there, where that hand is, or whether they got that thumb there, whatever it is. And I tweak that as I'm walking around. Some of that I can do real quiet, just fix it and keep walking on, keep counting. But while I'm walking around, even on the outsides of the room, I don't want them, if it's punches we're doing or whatever, and they're focusing on here, they're stepping forward, they're doing front stance punches, I don't want them watching me over here when I want them focusing on where those punches are here in front of them, and as they're stepping forward or as they're just sitting there and working on getting their hips twisted or their knees bent, whatever else the other things I want them to focus on are, I don't want their eyes taken away from the goal, and I want to know that they're all there. One thing, it kind of all ties in together. One thing you can see by if they've got their eyes focused here, then that's helping you, and I like to give them a specific body part to focus on. I'm watching, if on a knife hand strike, I'm watching where that hand goes, because I want to think about the bad guy who's on the other end of that, right? If on a punch, I'm thinking about those 2 punching knuckles. I'm watching those to see where they went, and to make sure I'm not punching over here, not even with my shoulder, but I've either given myself a specific goal here, or right in front of my eyes and nose right there, and that's where I'm looking at. So I'm focused my eyes there, but that also helps me focus my body and make sure I'm aiming at a specific spot, not just going here, right? Or here, okay? And that tells me that my mind is engaged in it too. So it all sorts of kind of ties in after a while. But right now, I'm just working on getting them only to focus on getting their eyes to one spot. That does a lot of things for you, right? You may find that they might think it's respectful. They might think it's what they're supposed to do. So you might have to stop the class just for a second and remind them, okay, look, I appreciate that in school with your teacher you might be doing this, but sometimes the teacher might have a projector in class, and this happened to me a lot when I was growing up. The teacher's sitting back here in the back of the room or in the middle of the room or something, and what I'm supposed to be focusing on and learning about is up here. So what it gets me is it gets my eyes focused here, but I have to listen, I have to open my ears to the teacher who's talking about it over here. See, she's showing me this math problem. I can see it real easy, but she's talking us through it and doing step by step on the projector, so I'm listening to her. I'm taking it in multiple levels. My eyes are taking it in, my ears are taking it in, and that's helping translate it all to my brain and make it a little bit simpler, right? So that lesson right there that you can teach them, then have them go back to focusing here and working on it, and purposely walk around, do some weird motions or something on the side of the room a little bit to see if they're staying focused. You might get a little grins or something, giggles every now and then, and I'd rather have them grin and giggle but still looking forward than going than stop and draw their attention away. But I'm using that as kind of a test. I'll do that sometimes, use it as a test. But then if you want to sit down now, at the end of that warm-up, you did some warm-ups, you did some stretches, while they're stretching maybe even, use it as a chance to do your mat chat. Okay, so somebody raise your hand and tell me, how does it help you to learn to focus your eyes straight ahead when the teacher's walking around talking and you're having to listen to your ears? How can that help you outside of here? And give them chances to figure that out for themselves and relay that back to you. Then maybe later on in the week, so they come 2-3 times a week. The first class of the week, they heard that question and maybe you even helped them with the answer a little bit. Then the second or third class of the week, they come back and hopefully you can say, okay, so now it's Wednesday or Thursday, it's not Monday, Tuesday. Tell me, how have you used focusing your eyes in school this week so far, on Monday or Tuesday or today or Wednesday or whatever it is? Okay. Tell me, how did you use focusing your eyes at home to help you better? Did you go home and practice what we worked on in class, earlier on in this week? Not just the moves. Practicing the moves is great, and we appreciate that. That's going to help you look sharper. But also, it's going to help you look better. I mean, we can talk about this in all sorts of different aspects. In tournaments and all that, judges love seeing when your head turns before you do the move, and you're seeing that opponent right there. In target drills and sparring, you had to keep your eyes on that person, right? And on that target. You got to know where you're kicking. You can't hit it if you can't see it. So, on all those other things, but just in the warm-up, focusing their eyes straight ahead and learning to open their ears and listen, not having to watch you for your body motions and what physical traits you might use to give away what's coming next or whatever. They have to listen and absorb that and then adjust to it as they're focused straight ahead here. Get them to understand how that helped them or how they can use their time outside of here in school and all those other places to work on that and try to make that better. If you can do that, just from teaching them how to focus their eyes in the warm-up, if you can do that and focus on that for an entire week, I guarantee you, parents that brought their students to you will be a lot more pleased and a lot more happy that you're teaching them that versus you're making their punches faster. So, as you're learning to be a better instructor, focus on this, not just how you can pump them up in the class and how you can teach a good, well-rounded lesson and all that, but teach above that. Teach and show them how. Show parents how that. Parents call in all the time up here. Yes, I'm interested in lessons for my little Johnny. I hear martial arts are great for teaching focus. How do you do that? I've got answers for that. I've got tons of answers for that. Most karate school owners, martial arts school owners might have some answer to that. I've even seen some that just say, well, I can't really tell you that. You got to come watch a class and see how it happens. It just happens. Hopefully, your goal is to be better than that, at a higher level than that, right? Have the answer prepared for them and say, well, I can tell you right now, teaching them in warm-up, what I tell them to focus on is I teach them to focus their eyes around straight ahead while I'm walking around the room, which really helps them learn to open their ears and focus here while they're looking here. Can you see how that helps them in their classroom at school when they got someone presenting up front, or they got like I said, that overhead projector going on and something up in the front of the room they're supposed to be looking at while the teacher explains the lesson to them, or they're reading something here, but the teacher's putting emphasis on certain parts of it so that helps them really feel the words that they're reading and get a better gist of the story, right? And learn how to tell a story, learn how to read a story like that, not just word, but how it all kind of fits together and how it has a rhythm sometimes. So that's what, even just the very beginning of class, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to help your student learn how to focus their eyes straight ahead, which is going to help a lot of other things in their daily lives. So hopefully you can kind of get on board with that and agree with it. If you're an instructor from a different organization or you've got a different point of view on that, I'd love to see comments on this on my site. Put them down below, and maybe I can kind of re-up this and put another addendum. amended version to this video up later on when I've got more input from different people and kind of had a chance to think it over and see different sides of it. I just use right now that one story that kind of comes to my mind from here's how you can use it in your daily life at school, but some of you may use other stories and I really may like that and want to steal that for later on and say, yeah, that's what I like. So think about how this can help you become better at this or whatever. And so if you got other comments on that, I'd love to see it, and please post some